How we doing, people? I want to give you an update on the AGT Industrial Mini Excavator. I want to show you what these things are capable of, people. Now, I understand there's a lot of people on the internet that are used to the big name brand toys, and you know, you're never going to be able to compete with those because, of course, they do have a lot more creature comforts and they have a lot more horsepower. They have a lot of things that you're going to expect to have at a $80,000 to $100,000 machine. That being said, I'm never going to spend $100,000 on an excavator. Okay, so it's either not have one or buy one that's within your feasible range, so to speak, and have something that you can actually do some work with. And yes, it may not be as fast as a name brand excavator. It may not have all the creature comforts, but for the money, it's either get jobs done or not get jobs done. You just have to know how to use it and operate it and respect it, and you'll be able to do what I've been doing here on my compound, on my property. And let's take a look at the situation. So what we have here, people, you see these piles of dirt, right? You can see this huge hole that I've dug here. I would say that it's about 3.5 to 4 feet deep. And the reason I dug this hole, you see all the dirt there. Okay, you see the machine here. It's performing beautifully for the money, I can tell you that. I'm very pleased with it. The canopy keeps the sun off of you. Take a look at down through here. I want you to look at this all through here. The tree line was right here on top of my shed. Over the years it grew up, and I'm talking about saplings and all kinds of sumac trees. And the only way to ensure that you're not going to deal with them year after year after year is you have to get the roots out, people. You can't just snap the branches off. You can't just cut them. I've done that. They just grow back thicker and stronger. So as you see, I took about a 12 to 15 foot path here and went all the way down my property. And as you can see way in the back there, if you can look beyond the Connex buildings, you'll see piles of brush. And they're drying out in the sun, and that's going to be a bonfire. But what I wanted to tell you was, this is the LH12, okay? And I'm very pleased with it. It has a lot of power, more than you'd think. I mean, when you're digging in the soil, it's just taking scoop after scoop. And even working around stumps, I'm telling you right now, you see the roots back there. Take a look at the size of this stump that I pulled out of here. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a stump that says, we want it to stay here and be a problem on your property. But you know what? We're not going to have that, people, because we've got a machine that says we're not going to settle for having to cut these down year after year, and we want this property in shape, if you know what I'm saying. Take a look at some of these trees I popped out. Take a look at this one. I plucked this out with one swipe, okay? And that's a multiple, one of them sumac type deals that has 6 or 7 branches coming out of it. You just have to do a little shaky shake and get the dirt off it, and this will go on the burn pile to dry out. But I want you to take a look at the path that I've cut through here. Now, understand, I want to put a garage right here, so I had to open this up a little bit. But I've had people ask me and say, hey, is that thing got any power? Has that thing got any strength? And I'm going to tell you something. This thing is very powerful, people. It's very powerful. I deal with a lot of equipment. I deal with a lot of high horsepower stuff. And let me tell you something. For $6,000, you can't go wrong. Now, that's with my attachments and other things that I have with it. But just look at that thing. It's got the oil cooler on it. It's got the tracks work beautifully. They don't tear up your yard. It's light enough. It's only a 2,200 pound machine. You can take it on a small trailer. It digs deep. It digs efficient. The hydraulics are pretty fast on it, actually. I mean, when you take a scoop, you pull in and you twist back on that bucket, better be prepared. You're going to have a good amount of dirt in that bucket, and you just got to move it and set it aside. Now, what I've got in here is a bunch of pieces of root and so forth that came off that tree that I'm going to have to make sure that I square away before I fill this hole back in, because I don't want that tree growing back. And I don't care if it's a year, 5 years from now, I don't want to revisit this. But take a look at how deep that is. That's at least 3.5 to 4 feet almost. And I could continue to dig because now the stump's gone. But what you have to do, I do have a claw that cuts around them, but I don't have the bolts for it yet. The guy I bought the machine from is supposed to be mailing them to me. But you just have to be patient with the bucket, go around the stump, dig all the dirt around it and loosen it up and get it to where it's to a point where there's no structure under it, and then pull on top of the stump and you'll crack it right off. But I really encourage you, if you have property, if you have a need for this, you won't need this every day, but I'll be honest with you, every day I'm home, I'm on it. And maybe it's just because I like to operate it, but I'm finding reasons to use this machine all the time. And this is one of them right here. I've wanted to do this for a while. I was going to go rent a piece of equipment to do this, but this would have been a 2-day job at least, and it would have been around 500, maybe 450 a day to do this with a diesel and everything else. I would have had, you know, with the rental fee, the going back and forth and so forth, it would have been at least that. I got another piece in the back that I spent a couple days on. So right there you're talking a couple $1,000s worth of work, and I haven't even got 40 hours on this thing. I have done an oil change on it, and it will be due for another oil change here shortly, but it's literally only I think 1.5 quarts of oil. I've just greased it this morning. I changed out a few of the fittings, and I'm pretty happy with it. I put a couple 90-degree fittings on it because some of the areas it's hard to get the grease gun in there. And hey, here's another thing, a shout out to a buddy of mine. He gave me a grease gun, and it's one of these battery operated, it's a DeWalt, and I use that all the time. I want to let you know, Dan, I use that all the time, and it really come in handy with this piece of equipment because you're greasing it every 8 hours or so. And you know, let me show you what I'm talking about. So you've got a couple grease fittings here. This is for the turret when it spins around. They kind of run tubes, run back, I'm presuming, and grease the turret. You have other ones in here that operate here like this. This is a regular grease fitting. Oh no, that's the needle one that comes from China. I actually like those ones. I just changed the fitting around. But as you can see, I got grease on the pins. Okay, but down here on the bucket and right here, as you can see, I put a 90-degree, or excuse me, a 45 on that one so that I could access it better. I found that some of the grease fittings they put in it are bottomed out and they're not letting grease go through, so I had to back a couple of them out just a little bit or change them out. And now the situation is it's digging really good. We're really happy with it, and I will recommend this to anybody that has $6,000 laying aside that says, hey, I want a piece of tooling that's gonna pretty much do what I want on my property. Now if you live in the city, there's no sense in owning this because you have nowhere to operate it other than if you had small jobs. But I'm really happy with it. I have to change that flag out. It's 4th of July weekend, but that one's pretty tattered. But we still appreciate that flag. I do have another one that I got to put up. And we're saying, hey China, thank you for building a good product. Thank you for building a product that's affordable. And thank you for a product that says, if you need to get the job done and get it done right, you got the right piece of equipment to do it. But this is Bri. I just wanted to give you an update and show you the strength of this machine. That is a huge stump that said I did not want to come out. This is like a bad tooth that did not want to be extracted, but the dentist came in and said, excuse me, you're coming out of the jawbone and you're going out into the trash. Now we'll drag this out and we'll let the rain hit it for a while, and we may even hit it with a hose to get all that dirt off it, but we will not put this back in the ground. This will go on a burn pile or to a landfill. So this is Bri. I wanted to give you an update. We're still waiting on the county. They're going to put these culvert pipes in for me. As you see, the ditches are really steep here, and they're going to go ahead. I have a whole other side, 100 foot on the other side of that, and then we have 60 feet here that needs to have the culverts put in, and they're going to go ahead and bring in the material and the fill so that it levels it out to the road. That will be a huge upgrade. I won't have to weed eat the ditches no more. I'll just be able to mow them. But just giving you an update. AGT Industrial. The guy's name is Tony out in Niagara Falls. He's a really good guy. Auto Care, if you want to look him up. He's got these coming in every month. He's got shipments of them. He sells them to a lot of farmers and a lot of people and a lot of ranchers and a lot of people that just have property. Okay, let's be honest. This is your boy Bry. I wanted to give you an update. Hey, the sun's out, the guns are out, and we got the AGT gun, and that thing's saying, let's go!